deity, the demiurge, and that true salvation lay in transcending this material existence. While Paul does not explicitly adopt this dualistic worldview, his emphasis on the spiritual struggle against these powers hints at an esoteric understanding of reality. But more so, Paul's relationship with the Gnostics is further complicated by the church's later efforts to co-opt his writings for orthodox purposes. Some of the letters attributed to Paul, such as the pastoral epistles, 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, and Titus, have been identified by modern scholars as later forgeries, written to counter Gnostic influence and reinforce church hierarchy. Additionally, the Pauline epistles were heavily edited and interpreted through an orthodox lens, obscuring potential Gnostic elements. Yet, traces of his mystical vision remain. One of Paul's most enigmatic statements say in the original Greek, "We speak Sophia among the initiates." The term Sophia, meaning wisdom, was central to Gnostic thought, often personified as a divine feminine figure and the spiritual counterpart to the masculine Christ. Yet in Orthodox traditions, this passage is often translated as, "We speak the wisdom of God among the mature." Yet, returning to his original words, who was this Sophia, and what role did she play in the story of Christianity? It would seem the answer is, it's bigger than any of us really know. In the earliest days of Christianity, the masculine Christ had a feminine counterpart, wisdom. In the beginning, she danced through creation. She was there before the stars, before the earth, before time itself. A force of life moving in harmony with the dynamic masculine principle, rooted in the foundations of existence itself. The ancients called her Sophia, the goddess of wisdom. For the early Christians, she was a radiant beacon of insight and divine understanding. But her voice, once central to their sacred traditions, was silenced. This is her story. Sophia, a name that means wisdom in Greek, was revered by the first Christians as the feminine face of the divine. In their mystical writings, the Gnostics spoke of Sophia as both the source of divine knowledge and the companion of Christ. Together they formed a sacred union, embodying the balance of masculine and feminine energies in the cosmos. And this divine feminine expression was present and revered in their beliefs as much as the masculine Christ. For instance, the act of communion was not just a remembrance of Christ's passion, but also a celebration of Sophia's wisdom. They prayed to her, asking, "Come, hidden mother, come, you who are made manifest in your works, and give joy and rest to those who are bound to you." Sophia's presence was woven into every aspect of their spiritual practice. Priests and priestesses would invoke her name, and wine symbolizing her blood was shared among initiates. These rituals emphasized partnership spirituality, recognizing both men and women as equal reflections of the divine. For a long time, depictions of Sophia persisted in Christian art, particularly in the Eastern Orthodox tradition. In the Hagia Sophia, the Holy Wisdom Cathedral in Istanbul, we see a tribute to her enduring influence. The name itself honors Sophia, the divine wisdom that early Christians cherished. But over time, her presence became symbolic rather than devotional, her story hidden beneath layers of patriarchal theology. Her name lived on, but her role as an active divine force was diminished. The rediscovery of the Gnostic texts in the 20th century reignited interest in Sophia and her teachings. Among these texts, the Sophia of Jesus Christ and the Pistis Sophia reveal a rich and complex narrative about the relationship between Yeshua and Sophia. These writings portray her as an integral part of the spiritual journey, guiding initiates towards enlightenment and unity with the divine. In these texts, the divine pairing work together to bring salvation, not through blind faith, but through the awakening of inner wisdom. And that is the story of their mystical marriage, the divine union of the masculine and feminine aspects of creation. The Gnostic texts reveal the centrality of this mystical marriage. In the Sophia of Jesus Christ, Jesus refers to Sophia as his companion and emphasizes her role in guiding humanity towards wisdom and self-knowledge. This relationship was not merely symbolic. It was seen as a cosmic truth, a reflection of the unity that underlies all existence. Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, was both the source and the goal of the spiritual journey. Now, as mentioned, this mystical marriage was celebrated in the rituals and sacraments of the early Christians. The Eucharist, for example, was not solely a remembrance of Yeshua's sacrifice, but also a celebration of Sophia's wisdom. Wine, symbolizing Sophia's blood, was offered alongside bread, representing Jesus' body. These elements were consumed in a sacred meal that united participants with the divine couple. The prayers of the Gnostic Christians often invoked both Jesus and Sophia, recognizing their partnership as essential to spiritual awakening. In the Gospel of Philip, one of the texts discovered in the Nag Hammadi library, Sophia is described as the mother of the angels and the bride of Christ. Her narrative is one of profound spiritual significance, where she seeks to restore balance to a world fractured by duality. But here's something very interesting. Throughout history, we see several versions of Sophia's story, as she exists both as the cosmic mother and as an incarnated human who, for a time, falls from grace. In the Pistis Sophia, one of the most significant Gnostic texts, Sophia's story unfolds in intricate detail. She is depicted as a divine being who becomes trapped in the lower realms of existence, known as chaos, due to her desire to know the unknowable light of the Father. This yearning leads her to fall from the pleroma, the realm of divine fullness, into the material world dominated by the archons, the rulers of the physical dimension. These malevolent beings, jealous of her light and devotion to the true light, deceive her by creating a false, glittering light that lures her into their domain. Mistaking this false light for the true light, Sophia descends, and the archons steal her light power and bind her to their realm. In her exile, Sophia undergoes profound suffering and degradation. She is subjected to various forms of abuse and exploitation by the archons, symbolizing the soul's entrapment within the material world. In her longing for wholeness and return to the light, she seeks comfort in the wrong places, turning towards lesser beings, false lights, and even wicked men who promise salvation but instead use, manipulate, and violate her further. These encounters deepen her sorrow, reflecting the soul's search for healing in illusions that only perpetuate pain. It is only after exhausting every worldly refuge, betrayed time and time again, that she cries out in sincere repentance to the divine. Moved by her cries, the higher realms respond, and God sends Yeshua, reflecting the Logos, to rescue her, restore her light, and guide her back to the fullness of her origin. As Sophia ascends through the spiritual realms, she is repeatedly challenged by dark forces that seek to pull her back into chaos. Yeshua acts as her guide and protector, offering her teachings and revealing mysteries that restore her divine knowledge. Along this journey, Sophia's redemption becomes a metaphor for the spiritual awakening of humanity. Her ascent through the spheres symbolizes the soul's gradual return to its divine origin, guided by wisdom and grace. In a way, Sophia's dual aspect, both as cosmic mother and incarnated human, further reflects how we see Jesus both incarnated as human and also a reflection of the cosmic Father. The journey of Sophia and her redemption mirrors the individual's spiritual journey. As Sophia descends into chaos and rises again through the guidance of Christ, so too does the human soul navigate the challenges of the material world, striving to reconnect with its divine source. To this aspect of the narrative, Sophia represents the material body and Christ the soul, and the uniting each of them is the mystical marriage, a transformative process that leads to enlightenment and self-realization. Yet, as we know, there is no one in the Gospels named Sophia, who represents an archetypal force of the feminine, as the Gnostics were very mystical and allegorical in their understanding. However, there is an expression of Sophia embodied in the Gospels, something even many Christians have long speculated about. The Gnostic Gospel of Philip provides a striking glimpse into the intimate relationship between Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, who is often associated as the embodiment of Sophia. This text describes a moment that upset some of the disciples. It says, "The companion of the Savior is Mary Magdalene. The Savior loved her more than all the disciples, and he kissed her often on the mouth." This expression of intimacy was both physical and symbolic, representing the union of the divine masculine and feminine forces that shaped the cosmos. In the mystic channelings called the Sophia Code, as well as the Magdalene manuscript, Mary Magdalene herself further shares a story about how she served Yeshua's ministry, not just as a disciple, but as a leader as well. In these writings, she recounts that before she met Yeshua, she was trained in the Egyptian temple traditions, specifically within the mysteries of Isis, where she underwent rigorous spiritual preparation. This training involved learning the sacred alchemical practices of divine union, known as the alchemies of Horus. These teachings were designed to transform and awaken the initiate's divine essence, preparing them to serve as spiritual conduits for divine wisdom. Mary's initiation was not merely theoretical, but deeply embodied. As part of the Isis mysteries, she learned the sacred rites of sexual alchemy, a practice intended to merge the divine masculine and feminine forces and facilitating higher states of consciousness. This wisdom allowed her to act as both a spiritual partner and a catalyst for Yeshua's ministry. When they first met, she immediately recognized him as a divine being who carried the Christ light. Their union was not only one of companionship, but of sacred purpose, a continuation of ancient initiatory practices where the priestess played an essential role in elevating the consciousness of the divine masculine. Yet, it was because she was learned in the art of sexual alchemy that later she was branded as a prostitute. It was told then that their love and spiritual mission eventually led to the birth of a child, a detail long obscured by the Orthodox Christian tradition, but preserved in esoteric accounts. As political and religious tensions heightened in Judea, Mary and her child were forced to flee, escaping persecution. According to alternative historical traditions, she traveled to Europe, specifically the regions of Gaul, modern-day France, where she continued her spiritual teachings in secrecy, preserving the sacred wisdom of the divine feminine. Over time, these teachings became embedded in various mystical traditions, including the Cathars and later Templar movements, which revered Mary Magdalene as a vessel of divine wisdom and the true keeper of the Christic mysteries. Yet beyond this, Yeshua and Mary were understood as avatars of the higher Christ and Sophic light, whose stories existed for generations before, as we have seen. For instance, Yeshua is to Osiris, as Mary Magdalene is to Isis, and the cosmic stories have been revered since time immemorial, reflecting even the unity of the masculine and feminine qualities within each human, including the unity between body and soul, or even the left and right hemispheres of the brain. However, if this is all true, why don't we see the reverence for Sophia in our world today? Where did all the Gnostic wisdom go? Well, like with the Gnostics, the suppression of Sophia began with the rise of the Roman Church. As Christianity became the state religion, the emphasis shifted from mystical knowledge to rigid dogma. The divine feminine was gradually erased, and Sophia's role was replaced by a patriarchal vision of divinity. This left a void in the spiritual lives of men and women alike. Women lost the divine figure who could reflect their own spiritual journeys, and men were denied a relationship with the nurturing and intuitive aspects of the divine. In an attempt to fill this void, Mary, the mother of Jesus, was elevated to divine status. Yet even Mary, now revered as the Queen of Heaven, retained only faint echoes of Sophia's wisdom and power. The rich partnership between the masculine and feminine aspects of the divine was lost. The suppression of Sophia also marked a deeper loss, the loss of balance, harmony, and a holistic understanding of the cosmos. Why was this done? Who decided which truths would remain and which would be erased? Who held the pen that rewrote the divine story, shaping what we now call scripture? Because in the end, it wasn't just about what was left out. It was about how the words themselves were changed.
Something is changing. She is rising, awakening from the depths. I know you can feel her. This is not a call to arms. It is a call to soften. For too long, humanity has lived out of sacred balance because the feminine was silenced, buried, and forgotten. We have suffered because of it. The earth has suffered because of it. As she rises from her forced sleep, she does not rise seeking revenge. She does not come to conquer the masculine or to pour out her rage upon him. She does not come to fight at all, but to feel. She seeks to restore the nobility of rest, to honor the seasons, to whisper the lost wisdom of the moon. She comes to sparkle with delight and to plumb the depths of her ecstasy. Her strength is not in her muscles. Her strength is in her sovereignty. Her strength is in her surrender. Her most holy gift is her ability to receive. And receive she must. It is the only way to balance the unchecked masculine running rampant across the planet. Yes, beloved, I know that your heart has been broken, your body betrayed, your voice silenced. No one can deny the injustice or the pain of your long-standing suffering. But the time has come, not to demand recompense, but to release both victim and perpetrator from cycles of blame and pain, to liberate us all from suffering through forgiveness. The time has come to remember who you are. Women, you must learn to trust yourself again, to trust your heart, your womb, your voice. You must love your voice back into its full strength. You must restore truth to your words. You must decide that God is love and love is safe. And yes, you must learn to trust the masculine again. Call him forward back into his power. Show him the value of rest. Honor him, nourish him, celebrate him. Release control and follow his lead. It's the only way you can remind him who he truly is. For without her, without the feminine, he too has forgotten who he is. Beloved son, an honorable king devoted to his purpose and loving his queen with all his magic and all his might. And then, you must become worthy of her trust. Hold her with the purity of your presence. See her, protect her, cherish her. Show her she is safe, with your hands and with your heart. This is the sacred dance. This is the way. It requires both sides, in their fullness and their sovereignty, equal but opposite. And it begins with you.
Now, in our great journey of exploring the mysteries of Christianity, one thing that has yet to be discussed is the authenticity of the narrative itself. We know that the great avatars, Yeshua included, did not write their own stories. So, who did? And can we trust their penmanship? Let's begin with the so-called foundational texts, the 5 books of Moses, also known as the Torah. For centuries, tradition held that Moses was the sole author of these books. But modern scholarship, linguistic analysis, and archaeological study paint a very different picture. The Torah was not written by one man in a single lifetime. It was composed and compiled over centuries by multiple authors and redactors, each bringing their own theological and cultural perspectives. This is evident in the shifts in language, tone, and even names for God. Sometimes he's called Yahweh, other times Elohim. These inconsistencies aren't just stylistic. They reveal the merging of multiple traditions and sources into a single narrative tapestry. Even within Genesis itself, we can clearly see this editorial layering. For instance, the creation story is told twice, back to back, with drastically different details and emphasis. In Genesis 1, creation unfolds over 7 structured days, with humanity created last, male and female together. But in Genesis 2, there is no 7-day timeline. Instead, man is formed first from the dust, and woman is created later from his rib. But here's the thing. Scholars widely agree that Genesis 2 is the older account, originating from the Yahwist tradition around the 10th century BCE, whereas Genesis 1, with its more orderly and cosmological tone, was written centuries later by the priestly tradition during or after the Babylonian exile. For narrative cohesion, Genesis 1 was placed first in the canon, even though it came later. You might remember that many years ago, we made a series called the Sumerian Epic, wherein we observed quite clearly that all of these stories seem to come from something much older. Many scholars have pointed out strong parallels between the Genesis narratives and earlier Sumerian stories. In particular, the tale of Enki and Ninhursag from the Sumerian tradition contains elements that are strikingly similar to the Garden of Eden, a divine garden, sacred trees, and even a moment where Enki is cursed after eating forbidden plants. The name Eden itself is believed to have originated from the Sumerian word Eden, meaning plain or steppe. This suggests that the earliest Hebrew storytellers were drawing from a much older mythological well, reshaping Mesopotamian themes into the emerging identity of their people. So we have to understand, From the very moment one opens the Bible, there are layers and layers of meaning to sift through. You might think that you're reading the words of Moses, but really, there is a mountain of translation, transliteration, and reorganization on top of all of it. And so we have to start to wonder, was there even a Moses at all? And what about the rest of the Bible? Well, the New Testament is the exact same way. The four canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, did not appear all at once. Instead, they were written over several decades, reflecting the theological and cultural concerns of their respective communities. The earliest Gospel, Mark, is believed to have been written around 70 CE, nearly 20 years after Paul's writings, and 37 years after Jesus would have died, with Matthew and Luke following in the 80s or 90s CE, and John coming last around 90 to 100 CE. But here's what's crazy. This chronological progression reveals a fascinating pattern of development. Mark's gospel is the most concise and presents a raw, almost urgent account of Yeshua's life and death. It focuses on him as a suffering servant, emphasizing his humanity and the eschatological urgency of his mission. Then came Matthew and Luke, drawing heavily from Mark, but embellishing it, shaping Jesus into something greater. Matthew, writing for a Jewish audience, roots him in prophecy, tracing his lineage back to David, marking his birth as the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. He alone tells of the Magi, the guiding star, Herod's slaughter of the innocents, elements absent in Mark, but essential to the emerging narrative of Yeshua as the long-awaited king. Luke, more universal in his approach, softens the edges. His Jesus is more compassionate, his message inclusive. Luke adds new parables, a different genealogy, a nativity story of his own, this time with shepherds and angelic hosts. The Gospels are no longer mere accounts, they are theological statements, shaping Jesus not just as a teacher, but as the Messiah, his life crafted into divine archetype. But it is with John that the transformation is complete. Written last, Jesus is no longer just the anointed one, the chosen prophet, the suffering servant. He is the Logos, the divine made flesh, the eternal word through whom all things were made. Gone are the short, enigmatic parables, the exorcisms, the gradual realization of his identity. From the very first verse, John declares what Mark only hinted at. Jesus is God. This is a cosmic Christ, speaking in grand pronouncements, performing miracles not just of healing, but of mastery over nature itself. He is no longer a secretive figure, telling his disciples not to reveal his identity. He proclaims it himself. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Before Abraham was, I am. This shift from Mark to John is not merely a deepening of the story, but a transformation. With each gospel in order, Jesus becomes more divine, more powerful, and more the supreme absolute divinity. And the process of canonization further cemented this shift, solidifying one version of Christianity while suppressing others, particularly Gnosticism. By the 2nd through 4th centuries, church authorities sought to create an official scripture, selecting Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, while excluding alternative texts such as the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of the Hebrews, and the Gospel of Mary. These texts, and many others like them, emphasized direct spiritual experience over institutional hierarchy, and personal communion with the divine, rather than obedience to a church. As such, they were deemed heretical and systematically destroyed. The Gospel writers, of course, were not eyewitnesses. They were architects of a faith in formation, shaping the Christ that they needed. These were people who sought to answer the theological questions of their time, and the biblical edits become very apparent the more that they're studied. Early critics, such as Celsus, accused Christians of modifying their texts to respond to theological disputes, and modern manuscript studies confirm that scribes made numerous changes. Despite their shared focus on Jesus, the Gospels sometimes present wildly conflicting accounts of the story. For instance, the genealogies of Yeshua in Matthew and Luke differ significantly. Matthew traces his lineage through King David's son Solomon, emphasizing Jesus' royal lineage and fulfillment of Jewish prophecy. Luke, on the other hand, traces the lineage through David's son Nathan, offering a very different perspective, the discrepancies of which reflect the theological priorities of the authors rather than a commitment to strict historical accuracy. Another significant difference is found in the accounts of the resurrection. In Mark's original ending, the women who discover the empty tomb flee in fear and tell no one, leaving the story unresolved. Later manuscripts add post-resurrection appearances of Jesus to align with the other Gospels. Matthew, Luke, and John include more detailed and varied accounts of Yeshua's appearances, each tailored to the theological emphases of their communities. Truly, the end of Mark in many Bibles actually have a little subnote that says, the earliest manuscripts do not include this next part, affirming that they were added later. Here's another thing that's interesting. Both Matthew and Luke introduce specific geographical locations into the narrative, which were absent in Mark, adding layers of historical realism that weren't there before. However, scholars have noted that many of these locations appear to have just been thrown in haphazardly, with some being incorrectly placed or anachronistic. For instance, Luke situates Jesus' birth during the census of Quirinius, which took place in 6 CE, while Matthew places Jesus' birth during the reign of Herod, who died in 4 BCE, creating a 10-year discrepancy between the Gospels. There are also instances where travel routes described in the Gospels contradict known geography. In Mark 7:31, Jesus is said to travel from Tyre to the Sea of Galilee via Sidon, a route that does not make sense, as Sidon actually lies in the opposite direction. Additionally, Mark 5:1 describes Jesus arriving in the country of the Gerasenes on the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee. However, Gerasa, modern-day Jerash, is more than 30 miles southeast of the lake, far too distant for the events described in the passage, which require a steep slope leading directly to the water. Through these inconsistencies, we can see that the Gospels were not based on first-hand knowledge, but were inserted later to give an impression of historical authenticity. Many scholars argue that these locations were added to provide a sense of realism to a story that was originally more mythical in structure, reinforcing the transition from an allegorical, symbolic Christ to a more concrete historical figure. Like, seriously, I can just imagine these old curmudgeons in a church room somewhere saying, they'll never know. And for 2,000 years, we didn't. But those ancient people didn't foresee the internet. And here we are. To reinforce the conceived historical continuity, the Acts of the Apostles was composed between 150 and 177 CE, presenting the disciples as historical figures who carried on Yeshua's mission. However, many scholars also argue today that Acts was not an objective record of early Christian history, but a later attempt to establish apostolic authority retroactively. It depicts a unified church led by a cohesive group of disciples, a portrayal that contradicts the diversity of beliefs and sects evident in early Christian writings. In this way, the construction of Christianity as we know it was not merely the preservation of a single tradition, but a process of revision, selection, and suppression, a transformation as much political as it was theological. The story of Christianity's rise to dominance is as much about politics as it is about faith. By the 4th century CE, a once persecuted sect of believers had become the official religion of the Roman Empire, reshaping the spiritual and political landscape of the ancient world. At the center of this transformation was Emperor Constantine the Great, a ruler whose embrace of Christianity forever changed its trajectory. But Constantine's motivations were far from purely spiritual. His actions reveal a calculated effort to unify an empire and consolidate power. When Constantine rose to power in 306 CE, the Roman Empire was fractured. The vast territory faced threats from external enemies and internal divisions, including a growing diversity of religious practices. The mysteries, once the dominant spiritual framework, was giving way to new faiths, with Christianity emerging as a significant force. Despite periods of brutal persecution, the Christian community had grown in size and influence, particularly in urban centers, where its organizational structure provided support to the poor and the marginalized. Constantine, a shrewd politician, recognized the potential of this growing movement to unify his empire. Constantine became the first Roman emperor to openly support Christianity. In 313 CE, Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, granting religious tolerance throughout the empire and ending the persecution of Christians. Persecutions, it's worth noting, were not solely the result of Roman hostility, but were also influenced by tensions between the early Christian communities and other religious groups. Ancient writings from that period reflect that some early Christian sects openly denounced existing Greco-Roman and mystery traditions, often proclaiming themselves as the sole holders of truth. In response, followers of older traditions viewed Christianity with suspicion, sometimes mocking it as a derivative faith that blended elements from their own deities while claiming to be wholly unique. These mutual hostilities, combined with Christianity's growing refusal to participate in traditional civic and religious rituals, contributed to social friction and ultimately to periodic state-sanctioned persecutions that spanned roughly 2 centuries. There's a movie called Agora that depicts this quite well, and I highly recommend giving it a watch if you want to jump more fully into that world. So anyways, Constantine granted religious tolerance for Christians for the first time, and this was a revolutionary act. But it was also a pragmatic one. By aligning himself with Christianity, Constantine secured the loyalty of its followers while maintaining a stance of inclusivity towards other religions. However, Constantine's patronage of Christianity went beyond tolerance. He provided financial support for the construction of churches, granted privileges to Christian clergy, and helped position the church as a central institution of imperial life. These actions elevated Christianity from a marginal sect to a favored religion, layering the foundation for its institutional power. But Christianity at that time was deeply divided over theological issues, particularly the nature of Christ. Was Jesus of the same substance as God the Father, or was he a created being? To resolve this and prevent division within the empire, Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea in 325, bringing together bishops from across the empire to define a unified Christian doctrine. And the Council of Nicaea was that turning point. Church leaders ultimately affirmed the doctrine of the Trinity, declaring that Jesus was of one substance with the Father. This decision was formalized in the Nicene Creed and became the cornerstone of Orthodox Christian belief. Alternative views, such as Arianism, which held that Yeshua was subordinate to the Father, were condemned as heresy, and their followers were marginalized or persecuted. Which, side note, super interesting, if Yeshua was of the same substance of the Father in his entirety, why would he say, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done"? Anyway, Constantine's role in the council underscored the new relationship between church and state. He was not a theologian, but he understood that a unified religion meant a more stable empire. In doing so, he set the precedent for imperial involvement in defining spiritual truth, an influence that would shape Christianity for centuries to come. You can see where I'm going with this, right? Most of us believe the things we believe because 1700 years ago, some old guys decided it was going to be that way. Not to mention, Yeshua's whole mission seemed to revolve around telling us that all of us are one with God in the deepest way. Well, except maybe the Pharisees. As Christianity became the state religion under Constantine's successors, its relationship with the mysteries shifted. Where once Christianity was the suppressed, now it became the suppressors. The mysteries were rebranded collectively as paganism, which meant country dweller, and was intended as an insult. Pagan temples were repurposed or destroyed, and pagan practices were outlawed. The old gods, once revered across the empire, were relegated to the shadows of history. This transition was not merely a spiritual victory, but a political one, as the church aligned itself with imperial power to consolidate its authority. Constantine's influence on Christianity then extended way beyond his lifetime. His reign marked the beginning of a transformation that saw the faith evolve from a persecuted minority to an institutionalized religion with global reach. Yet, this transformation came at a cost. The consolidation of doctrine and the suppression of dissenting views stifled the diversity of early Christian thought. All others who focused on personal spiritual knowledge or mystical development were branded heretical and driven underground. The richness of diversity gave way to a more rigid orthodoxy shaped by the demands of political unity. So remarkably, and without any surprise, all of these changes and the suppression of older wisdom teachings led to the 1,000-year period that we know today as the Dark Ages. Truly, it was in Italy in the 14th century that the writings of the Greek philosophers and especially Hermes Trismegistus with the Corpus Hermeticum, re-emerged in a meaningful way to the Christian world. And those philosophies helped people in mass break out of the old conditioned thinking, and a new enlightened era began, which today we call the Renaissance, which means rebirth. Now this window of time, zooming out a little bit, from generally 300 BC to 1700 CE, was a time when humanity walked through the darkest point on the precession of the equinox, the Kali Yuga. A window of unenlightenment and disconnection from ourselves and each other, ignorant of the cosmic laws that permeate all of reality. Fortunately, we're in a new era of awakening now. The dark ages are long behind us, and there's a lot to look forward to. And so you can see, humans were forced and taught to believe in one specific thing for a really long time. And then, even once that was done, there were hundreds of years of biblical scholarship which made things even worse, especially regarding translations. Here, let me show you. A recent documentary revealed that in 1946, a very interesting word, never before seen in any Bible translation, was introduced. A word that would alter religious doctrine and social attitudes for generations. The word, homosexual. Before this, no biblical text contained that word. Instead, the Greek words malakoi and arsenikoitai appeared in 1 Corinthians 6:9-10. Malakoi translates to soft, historically used to describe luxury, weakness, or decadence. It was never a reference to sexual orientation. Arsenikoitai is a bit more complex. It's a compound of arsen, meaning male, and koitai, meaning bed. Scholars debated its meaning for centuries, but today it is understood to refer to economic exploitation or abusive relationships, particularly involving pederasty, the practice of older men taking advantage of younger boys. But in 1946, the translators of the Revised Standard Version made a fateful decision. They combined these two words into a single English term, homosexual, which was a relatively new word by contrast. This change transformed the passage. What had once been a condemnation of exploitative or abusive acts now became a condemnation of an entire group of people. Instead of addressing issues of power, coercion, and predation, it labeled non-cisgendered individuals as inherently sinful. And once that translation was published, it spread. By the 1980s, this mistranslation became a weapon. As evangelical leaders like Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson rose to prominence, they used the altered scripture to push anti-gay rhetoric. The AIDS crisis only intensified this. Religious figures claimed that homosexuality was both a sin and a curse, a divine punishment for those who defied God. Their message was clear. The Bible condemned homosexuality, and those who engaged in it were unworthy of salvation. Over time, some translations corrected the error. The new Revised Standard Version and its updated editions removed homosexual from the text, returning to language that more accurately reflected the original Greek. But by then, the misinformation had spread too far. Many churches continued to use older translations, reinforcing decades of prejudice. Today, most scholars agree homosexual should never have been included in the Bible. The original texts do not address sexual orientation as we understand it today. Instead, they speak about social corruption, economic exploitation, and abusive power dynamics. Seriously, one translation mistake made in 1946 reshaped religious beliefs and justified discrimination against millions. The consequences have been devastating. Families have been torn apart, lives lost, faith weaponized against those who needed it most. And just think, if this happened here, how many other times could this have happened? What other words might have been mistranslated and changed things over generations, and the original meaning and intentions completely lost? Well, here's a few other ones. When Jesus is giving the Sermon on the Mount, he says, "Blessed are the meek," which is a word that ultimately means docile and submissive. Obviously, something controlling powers would want you to be so that you're easier to manipulate. But the original translation of meek was something far more like those who have power but choose to keep it under control. Those who are strong, disciplined, and humble, not weak or submissive. Yet for 2,000 years, Christians have largely practiced meekness instead of this original quality Jesus was describing. And here's another powerful example. In the film Christspiracy, the filmmakers uncover a striking mistranslation in one of the most iconic moments of Jesus' life, when he overturns the tables in the temple. Most modern Bibles render his words as, "You have turned my father's house into a den of thieves." But when the Hebrew term, haritz, is examined more closely, scholars reveal that it more accurately translates to violent ones, or murderers. This changes everything. Yeshua wasn't condemning greed or corruption. He was protesting the mass slaughter of animals happening in the temple. At that time, the temple was essentially a large-scale slaughterhouse. Animals were sold, killed, and barbecued by the priests, generating wealth for both the temple and the Roman state. In this context, Jesus' protest takes on a deeper meaning. He wasn't flipping tables over coin exchange. He was shutting down a system of institutionalized killing, calling it out for what it was: violence. As Christspiracy suggests, this aligns with early traditions that portray Jesus as a vegetarian mystic, deeply rooted in the teachings of compassion, nonviolence to all, and inner spiritual awakening. A man who wouldn't kill, even for food. The list goes on and on. Throughout the Bible, we find many other places and instances in history where mistranslations have created dastardly effects for humanity in mass. And so, in closing to this chapter of our grand exploration, here are a few final examples. "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." That infamous line from Exodus 22:18 comes from the Hebrew word mekhashepha, which more accurately means sorcerer or poisoner. But the King James translators chose witch, fueling centuries of brutal witch hunts, mostly against women, midwives, and healers. "Behold, a virgin shall conceive." That from Isaiah 7:14. But the Hebrew word alma simply means young woman, not virgin. A later mistranslation into Greek gave us parthenos, and suddenly a young mother became a virgin, forming the basis of the entire doctrine of the virgin birth. Hell? That word doesn't exist in the Hebrew Bible. Instead, we get Sheol, Hades, and Gehenna, each with very different meanings. Gehenna, for example, was a literal garbage pit outside Jerusalem used as a metaphor for spiritual decay. But later translations lumped all of them together into hell, constructing an image of eternal torture that Jesus himself likely never taught. And Ephesians 5:22, "Wives, submit to your husbands." Most people don't quote the verse right before it. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. That mutuality was erased in how the passage is usually taught, turning a message of equality into a tool of patriarchal control. And then there's the word repent. For thousands of years, it's been loaded with guilt and shame, like begging for forgiveness. Repent of your sins. But in the original Greek, the word is metanoia, which means to change your mind or to shift your perspective. It was never about groveling. It was about awakening. And truly, it would seem that in the case of most of these translations, they weren't just mistakes. Maybe some of them formed by ignorance, but in most cases, these really seem like deliberate acts that reinforced systems of power. They gave divine weight to patriarchy, fear, violence, and shame. And unless we know where the edits happened, we're not reading scripture. We're reading strategy. For centuries, people have tried to peel back the layers of myth and tradition to uncover the real figure behind the stories. The historical Jesus, not the stained glass icon. But the deeper we look, the more elusive he becomes. Tracing him through the sands of time means navigating centuries of theological edits, political agendas, and artistic inventions. What we often find isn't the man himself, but reflections of the cultures that sought to define him. The man we call Jesus may never have looked the way we imagine him. That soft-eyed, long-haired figure in flowing robes, the one hanging in stained glass windows and printed on prayer cards, isn't historical. It's a composite, a projection, an invention. In the earliest Christian art, Jesus looks more like a clean-shaven Roman philosopher than a mystic from the desert. Short hair, tunic, no beard. Even Paul, the earliest Christian writer, says, "Does not nature itself teach you that if a man has long hair, it is a disgrace to him?" That one line alone would disqualify most paintings of Christ, at least as far as ancient standards go. So where did this image come from? The long-haired, haloed icon didn't take hold until the 8th century, when churches in Constantinople and Rome began unveiling supposedly divinely revealed portraits of Jesus. One said to be imprinted on a cloth, another allegedly painted by Luke and completed by angels. But these were not archaeological discoveries, they were PR campaigns, holy propaganda. Their purpose wasn't to show us Jesus, it was to anchor a rising theology in something visual, fixed, and above all, controllable. And therein lies the trap. The church gave us a face so that we'd stop asking questions about the meaning. They gave us an icon to follow, not a mystery to enter. The real Yeshua, the historical teacher, the mystical symbol, that Yeshua was buried beneath centuries of myth-making, political strategy, and power consolidation. And to some extent, it seems that this was necessary for us as a species. During the time of the mysteries, before Christ, our spiritualities were becoming very diluted with so many different representations of the divine. The destruction of the old way in favor of a unified image that forced a single narrative doctrine was necessary to fix everyone's minds on an image of the supreme ultimate power and give everyone an idea to reflect upon and hold in their minds and hearts. The challenge was that these beliefs were ideated around something outside of us instead of an inner reality to embody. The journey of transcendence associated with Yeshua was destroyed, and therein lies the problem. And we can see this taking place in history. Even the most basic details we think we know don't hold up. Take Jesus of Nazareth. The title sounds specific, grounded, historical. But there's a problem. There was no Nazareth at that time. No town by that name appears in any Roman records, maps, or writings from the 1st century. Even Jewish historian Josephus, who listed over 200 towns and villages in Galilee, never mentioned it. The earliest archaeological evidence for a settlement in Nazareth doesn't appear until well over a century later. So where did Jesus of Nazareth come from? Most likely, it's a linguistic mix-up. The word Nazarene doesn't refer to a geographic location, but to a spiritual sect. The Nazarenes were a Gnostic, ascetic, vegetarian brotherhood devoted to a mystical path of purification and inner awakening. Jesus wasn't from Nazareth, he was a Nazarene, a title, not an address. But over time, those two words became confused and eventually institutionalized. One so-called red herring in a sea of theological misdirection. But then there's the question that haunts every scholar and seeker. Did Jesus even exist? The historical evidence is slim. There are no contemporary Roman records of his life, no birth certificate, no personal writings. The earliest gospel accounts were written decades after his death by people who never met him. Outside of the New Testament, the references we do have, like those from Josephus or Tacitus, are brief, secondhand, and possibly altered by later scribes. And yet, as literally billions of people believe, maybe he did exist. Maybe there was a radical teacher who walked the hills of Galilee, who performed miracles, challenged the empire, and was ultimately crucified for his defiance. Maybe he was an avatar, a rare soul of such profound realization that his very presence changed people. Maybe his life was the seed of a story so big it could not help but absorb the myths that came before it. Dionysus, Osiris, Mithras, Krishna, and all the dying and resurrecting sons of God. But if I may for a moment speak from personal experience, Yeshua, I believe, was definitely a real person, an embodied avatar of the highest caliber. But I also believe that the truth of what he did in his life has been swallowed by myth, culture, and doctrine, and shrouded in illusion. And in speaking personally, what I can say is, I have had a direct and personal experience with him, multiple actually, and in the time I spent in what can only be described as a mystical one-on-one and conversational experience, I know his presence personally, and so there's no doubt in my mind that he lived, and was a remarkable human. And even today, I feel him not only as a human outside of me, but a living presence within me. However, what became clear from my time spent with Yeshua is that the stories surrounding him must be taken from a mystical lens, because so many older mythological stories have been applied to his life. Yet that symbolic layering doesn't negate his reality. It doesn't mean he didn't live, or or that he didn't perform incredible feats. I don't ask that you take my word for it, but go within and decide for yourself what you know to be true. What I can say for certain, and what we can point to, is the power of that myth, the impact, the echo, the archetype. Yeshua exists in the way all great myths do, not just as history, but as an ongoing invitation to transformation. And here's the most important part. However it was that he existed, for us today, it is the belief in the story which has all the power. Scientific discoveries today are now firmly supporting this understanding as well. As great men like Dr. Bruce Lipton explains through his work in The Biology of Belief, our thoughts are not passive. They are biochemical signals that shape our bodies, our choices, and our reality. Belief literally rewires the brain, reorganizes the nervous system, and reprograms our cells. When we believe in something, whether it's fear, faith, failure, or freedom, our biology responds accordingly. So, if we believe in the Spirit of Christ, not as dogma, but as divine presence, we can embody it. We can become more compassionate, more courageous, more radiant. We can become vessels of peace, truth, and healing. That's not fantasy, that's neurochemistry. But if we believe we are weak, unworthy, and broken, so shall we become. And that's the deeper meaning behind the Jesus story. Regardless of whether he was historical or not, the myth works because belief has power. And when that belief is pointed inward, toward transformation, toward awakening, it becomes a force of evolution. Because for the earliest Christians, especially the Gnostics, the Jesus story was not taken as a literal biography. It was myth by design, an initiatory allegory, a symbolic roadmap for spiritual awakening. Just as Osiris, Dionysus, and Mithras died and rose again, so did Yeshua. Not because it happened once in history, but because it happens again and again within us. To the initiated, these myths weren't superstition. They were sacred geometry in narrative form, coded rituals meant to guide you into gnosis, or direct knowledge of the divine. Jesus' baptism, death, and resurrection, these weren't just events. They were inner milestones on the path to transcendence. Baptism, the purification of identity. Death, the dissolution of the ego. Resurrection, the birth of divine consciousness. But when Rome took over the story, it needed more than symbols. It needed power. It turned the myth into history, the metaphor into doctrine, the mystery into dogma. And that's when the red herring was born. Because suddenly, Christ wasn't a path to follow. He was a belief or an identity to worship, a fixed narrative, a singular savior. The journey inward was replaced by obedience outward, and the revolutionary spiritual myth became an authoritarian religion. So here's the truth. The real Spirit of Christ doesn't have a face. The Supreme Consciousness doesn't need a face. Because the moment we try to define it in static terms, through portraits, creeds, or history books, we miss the entire point. The real Christ is the question that leads you back into yourself, the myth that opens a door, the riddle that won't let you rest. And every time we fixate on what he looked like, or whether he actually walked on water, or if he really said this or that, we're chasing the red herring. We're swimming in circles, never diving into the deeper waters. Because the real treasure was never the man, it was always the mystery.
this other thing I was going to show Kaylee was, and everyone that got caught in the other stream. I'll just show you some clips from it, and then I'm going to go catch. I'm going to go record Ricky Freeman, and will I play anything more here of that? I'll come back after. Yeah, I'll just play a few clips of this to show you what I was showing earlier. I played the whole thing earlier, and then I'll go get Ricky, and then I'll go to the shop, and then I'll come back and do some of the a couple of those ones I wanted to show you. I'll just show you those other bits that were on of Roscoe and Zero Tom, etc. I love you all as well. Universal compassion, wise, and all that. Repent, see things differently, change your mind, do good, aim towards better. Thank you.
Water curbs the appetite because the brain impulse signal for hunger and thirst is the same. There's no differential. So if you go to the refrigerator and you open it and you go, what do I want to eat? You're thirsty.
Welcome to The Nugget, the show where we talk to talented and accomplished guests and learn about the nuggets to their success in order to inspire us to pursue our goals and dreams. I'm Kara.
I'm Juanes.
And I'm JP, certified reducitarian. Right?
And today we are so pleased to welcome Dowdy, the vegan guru McLean, to our
It's the
show.
guru. Hey, give thanks. Make some noise.
There's so much to say about him. So, the vegan guru is a celebrity vegan chef, entrepreneur, and restaurant owner.
Let's go.
His spaces include Too Good Veggie Kitchen and City Vegan, as well as several other businesses in West Hollywood, Florida, Memphis, Tennessee,
Yep.
and the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia.
Let's go.
Bring it. Let's-
Yeah. 15, 20 minutes beforehand, and then you devour your meal. You know what I'm saying?
I have to apologize. I didn't even say thank you. I just wanted to get right into it.
And off the orange. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be real. Give me back my word. I want meat back. It's not flesh. It's the real meat. I don't let people call my stuff fake. You know what I'm saying? I only call it chicken though because I want to denote the flavor, what you expect to taste. Why? Because my food is bridge food. One side of the bridge has to be in the trouble land. The other side got to be in the promised land. You feel me? And if I'm coming to my boys in the projects, you know what I'm saying, with hummus and tabbouleh, they're going to be like, tofu, what are you doing? You crazy? What's wrong with you? No, here's a bacon double cheeseburger with crispy guru bacon.
Got it.
Oh, that's not a, bro, what, that's not, no. I fed Tupac vegan spaghetti. Stop playing with me. No, I didn't. I fooled him. He was in the studio. I came in, I cooked. I was a known nut in the studio. You know what I'm saying? I'm there. Digital Underground is in the other side. I'm in one room. We all running into each other for 3 months every day. Da-da-da. They smell the food. He came in, he said, what's that? What's that smell good? I said, spaghetti. You want to try some? Yeah, okay. Yeah, made a little plate for Tupac. Gave him the spaghetti. He stood there, ate the spaghetti, ate the meatball. It's like, yo, this is the best spaghetti I ever had, man. It's amazing. Say, all that juice, you vegan now. You just ate vegan food, man. All that juice, tough guy, shooting people. Yeah, now you care for the animals. He's laughing. He's like, what? This is not, you know what I'm saying? So I make food for the meat lover. If I'm making food for the meat lover, catch that in Tanjo. If you love meat, you love vegetables, grains.
Got
You see what I'm
it.
saying? If you
Got
love
it.
meat, or if you're calling it flesh, then you love animals, you're not gonna eat the animals. I make food for the meat lover, you get what I'm saying? So
Right.
with that being said, we have to tell them, like City Vegan, we got the City Ribs, the City Slicker chicken sandwich. You got to give them what they're kind of looking for. And then when they taste it, they go, wait a minute, I can do this.
Flavor.
Yes.
I love mac and
I
cheese.
was a fat, overweight doughboy. I ate everything, brother. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Grew up in the concrete jungle. Now I rule in the building, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Asphalt, bricks, never seen a mountain, never been on a beach. So, you know, I ate everything you could think of, and I was dang near pushing 300 pounds. The first vegan thing I made was a brownie. You know, so my first company was Innocent Treats in Atlanta, Georgia. All pastries, cheesecakes, coffee cakes, cosmic cupcakes, all kind of things like that. Because I was a doughboy, you know what I'm saying? And I made the Fluff Daddy pancakes. When I made them pancakes fluff up without milk, butter, and all the rest of that, it was over, you know what I'm saying? So now I realize I have to make sure everything tastes the way I'm used to. Because I'm not going to run around and be missing out on flavor, eating sawdust and birdseed, calling myself a vegan. It's not going to happen. Her plate was clean, folks. Once again, she's 2 for 2.
You are honoring the vegetables and the fruits. You are honoring
Absolutely.
them.
Give thanks. I
And
received
thank
that.
you.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Listen,
Not treating it as other.
Right.
It's an
Do you know what? You know what's really big about that? What you just said, honoring. That's deep. I never heard no one say that to me like that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna hold that one, because what has happened in my experience, like, see how I just tasted the food and was like, oh, that was good. I find that because I have children that was born vegan and they had friends and stuff, and I find that when you have a kid that's overweight in high school or something, or junior high school, and he's being bullied and called names and stuff because he's overweight. Like, obesity is big among children. Diabetes is in our schools and such. So when you take something like what you just ate and give it to that 300-pound kid, and you provide him a vegan a meal plan that's vegan, all of a sudden he's enjoying the food. He's losing weight. He's telling people, I'm vegan, I don't eat that. He's gaining self-esteem and confidence and all of that, because I don't eat that anymore. I eat that. Try this.
that ownership.
My kids did this. That's what I'm trying.
Right.
Hey, try this
Yeah,
pizza.
that ownership.
You know, yeah. So then he's losing weight. He becomes a high school football superstar. Why? Because eating vegan food, you're going to get in shape. You're going to get right. You're going to be energetic. Now kids accept him, but he doesn't reciprocate with the bullying or the anger or the negativity that he suffered. He reciprocates with love and teaching and saying, hey, you can be vegan too. Hey, check this out. Try this. This is great. It's a whole nother, it's anti-bullying to the whole, just through the food. I've seen it happen. So when I do this, honoring the vegetables, honoring nature, honoring the divine, I want others to understand, if you take care of yourself, if I can get you to take care of your body, you'll think twice about hurting another body.
That's
You'll
right.
think about how you treat others. Isn't do unto others as you would have them do. Isn't that really love your neighbor as yourself? Isn't that really the thing? So how do you do that? You start with the food, with things like this that help people become better people, and then share that better thing. You know what I mean? So that touched me what you said, but it allowed me to let you know why I really do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Give thanks.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's like a reciprocation of natural value, you know?
Exactly.
I like that.
I was going to ask you to expand on that, because you just talked about like the ownership and the practices and the language that your children have about eating a certain way and feeling a certain way. And I guess, to what extent is veganism just about the food, or is veganism beyond the food? Can you talk about that a little more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The connection, the frequency, it's beyond the food, because it's plant-based food. Plants photosynthesize the sun, like, you know, they connected. The trees, they connected. Trees go through the winter, they go through the, you know, they don't complain, they bend with the, you know, they do all the, so if you look at it, it's way bigger than the food. The food is simply the starting point. You know, it's the garden, like, you know, it's the garden. Garden of Eden, you know, the garden. The lions and the lambs laid together. You know what I mean? It wasn't about take, grab, you know what I mean? And I even teach people that as artists, we shouldn't go for all of these material things. We should really be concerned about taking our food back, because that's your life, that's your source. So when you take the food back and you as one, like, think of the herd. The herd of zebras, they chill together. They eat the same food. They're all basically the same size. It's beyond the food, it's a lifestyle. The herd is the same size. Why? Because the zebra's natural defense mechanism against the lion is to blend.
Uh-huh.
They run and they blend and then don't know which one to grab. So imagine an obese zebra at the herd. When the lions come, like, yo, hold up, yo, wait up, yo, wait up, yo, wait up. They not waiting. You getting eating, you are breakfast. You dig what I'm saying? So it is beyond the food. It's about a oneness. It's about a, herd mentality, not no herd immunity. Common cold can't catch me. What y'all talking about? Anyway.
I'm excited.
I had to write that down, bro.
I'm excited.
Because I teach people, become avid grocery hunters because they say veganism is expensive. Well, it is if you are a hoarder or a mass shopper who goes out and spends all this money on food, fill up your cupboard, you fill up your refrigerator, a lot of your flesh gets freezer burned, like about 60%. This is facts. Your cupboard, your crackers, all that cereal, all that gets stale because you bought so much. You can't even, because you running around here feeling like you're empty if your refrigerator is empty. No, bro, stop it. A lion does not have a refrigerator. Like we talked about the zebra. He grabs the zebra, chomps it up. Don't go in the refrigerator. Let's go shopping. Let's go to the market 3 times a week. You up. Some people go, oh, I can't eat tofu because it gives me gas. I be bloated. But you just ate melons, a cheeseburger, some ice cream, and then the tofu. You saying the tofu got you bloated, and you I can't do that.
You spend knowledge.
It's about food. I'm right at that moment where everything has come to a certain point, and I'm here to serve and do what I'm meant to do. You know what I mean?
Your energy is just wonderful. So
Give thanks.
anything you're sharing, we're like eating it up.
Give thanks. Well, hey, I'm a chef. You got to eat up what I put on the table.
And literally.
Yo, the metaphors are crazy.
Give
Bars
thanks.
all over the place.
Oh man, I started as a producer. That's how I became a celebrity chef. I forgot about that part. I was a fireman in New York. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I used to bring my equipment to the work. And I had one ear in the headphone with one ear out for the alarm, you know what I'm saying, working on music. So I took a vacation. I went out to Cali. I had some connects. I met with some cats. They didn't let me leave. They gave me $150K. Warner Chappell Music, singer, songwriter, producer, me.
Look at that.
I went with a bunch of songs. I had like 300 songs. They gave me $25K. They wouldn't let me out the office. $25K. I came back.
To get into the practice of drinking water regularly, specifically in New York.
Right.
The average person drinking water this much in New York City, it's hard to find a restaurant.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but this is what happens.
Yeah, I'd like to.
When you start,
enlighten for
when
them.
you start, you're going to go. You're going to go. You're gonna go. But after a week, 2 weeks of you getting your water, your body regulate. You're going to go the same time every day. You want to know.
Half 6, spread it around. Anybody want to have their say with me and have their criticisms? I'll have a look in a minute. Let's share the thing. What stream was that, Skyway? I missed the stream yesterday. Oh, it's up because I played some music. It's editing, and it's taking so long to edit at the moment. And the streams are taking time to download at the moment on YouTube. I'm still looking at one now. It's still done. I think they've got a technical fault. It'll be out there again. The one last night that's still downloading. I'll have a look in a minute. Right. I'm going to shoot off. Right. Right. I'm going to shoot off. See you at 6:30. Spread it around. Anybody want to have their say with me and have their criticisms? They could come on. Yeah.
What was that? What was that noise?
I think they've got a technical fault. It'll be out there.
What was that noise, Ricky? You sound very unwell, man. I don't want to schadenfreude you or anything. And all this begging for the likes, nearly 100 views and you had 2 likes a second ago, you just got a third. In Skyworks at the end, where's the like? Hit the likes, you're selfish or you tight buggers. So sad.
There again. The one last night that's still downloading. I'll have a look in a minute. Right. I'm going to shoot off. See you at 6:30. Spread it around. Anybody want to have their say with me and have their criticisms? They could come on. Yeah. Don't spread it. Yeah, it's the downloading is a technical thing. Somebody else said that about my other stream, so I don't know. And when the technical thing's done, then the views goes up because it oh, nothing went down. Nothing went down. What was that stream? Oh, that was that stream. I've set up the argument, the lefties against the whites. Well, JAJ didn't turn up, so they didn't bother. So Luke came on for 5 minutes. There was nothing to talk about. Honestly, you didn't miss anything. Marcus was perfectly all right, actually. There is a late night stream I've done. It keeps saying it's downloading, but have a look at it. I think it says review time. Yeah, you can if you want. I'll see what happens. I go on my computer because on my phone, for some reason, it's downloading really slow. But back on R6, and it'll be the last stream. So you got your chance instead of or everybody doing your bullshit. Ask me the questions, and then I'll answer. I'm not afraid of anyone. I just didn't let people on because I knew it fucking annoyed them. Yeah. So all right, we'll do that, and that's my last stream tonight for a week and a half. I'm very busy. Yeah. And I'm going off grid that's what I do. I go off grid as well. I don't of course I listen to YouTube, but not these, but just different shows. I won't have any of the other shows, yeah. All right, take care. See you at 6:30. I've got things to do now. All right, see you later.
People who are doing politics, Al and Nigel for that might Yeah, don't do anything rash, man. I'm the worst. Like I said before, I'm the worst person to say this, but now I've had these clarity moments and and and, and times when I'm like things maybe not like how I thought they would be. That energy, that energy here, we've got to keep it and release it in the right way. So perfect. Some of I say it myself, they've been quite good. Right. Oh, there I am. I'm going to be doubled up now. Can you see that? Right, watch this. If you haven't seen it, if you've seen it, then it's there. But this is, as I said, this has gone so far away from what it's supposed to be. We might as well just have a chat now. Right. No, that's not what I want, mate. No, brother. No, brother. Does anyone want to get on? Let me drop this in. Actually, let me drop this in. I haven't. Let me just drop this in. Some people might want to have a chat as well. You know, we're not the number one. We're not the number. Let me just drop this in. Some people might want to have a chat as well. You know, we're not the number one. We're not the number one call-in show because you don't call in. We're not even the number 12. We're just people. Anyone wants to jump in, jump on that one. Oh man, drop me out. Oh, I've got to do a new one, ain't I? Sorry, people. Stop screen. Yes, right. I'll just do it up there. Stupid. Right, here we go. So, what's this? I went on my bits. Natalie Fleet, MP, right? If she's your MP, go to her offices. Tell her why. Ask her why. You want to know reasons. It was so lovely to be able to spend time with Sir Keir Starmer today and celebrate the change in law to remove parental responsibility from rapists. Yes, that's very, very good, right? But it's not lovely to be able to spend time with Keir Starmer because Keir Starmer didn't actually do anything for that. Keir Starmer would have just, it wasn't pressure from the people. If it wasn't pressure, extreme pressure from Rupert Lowe, he would never have done that. He would never have done that. So you want to ask her why she thinks he's so good. And yes, bad people can do good things too. Right. Ricky Doolan. Here we go. Danny, that's me. I'm live. Hello. Right. We'll go and do that in a minute. That's for this stream. That's on that one. We're getting through it. Can you see it yet? Oh, Sadiq Khan. He's a cunt too. There we go. This. Look at that. That there is going to win the country back. Nick Tanconi. I'm telling you. It's important. Holding him accountable. Oh, man. Where is it? I probably can't find it. Anyway, so that was a wasted 5 minutes. It was UK. No. Strange those connected. It's strange those that are connected to the Middle East states get the same traction, as in a lot of views online. Yet the people who steal other people's ideas and lead people down the road and jump into the bushes. But it's interesting at the least. And that's what it is. People leading you down the road. And when it comes down to it, when the moment's there, they jump in the bushes. That's what we need to get away from. That's what I want you to get away from. And that's why I think you should go locally. Take your stuff locally and make that 1,000. Because imagine this, right? You got 650 MPs. Imagine on the same day, you all said, you're going to go outside their offices. You're going to protest outside their offices. 650 different areas. Would they be able to cope? Would they be able to cope? You tell me. Someone's just dropped into the thingy. Right. 1 second. Let me just change this one. Where are we going? What are we doing? Media. It's not this one. Oh, what's happened there? All right, we'll just go big and then see what happens. Nope. Bummy? Oh, wait there. I've got loads of stuff here, man. Let me just say this one here. This one here. I've got Tommy Bumpy. I don't know where Bumpy. I can't. Come back in, Bumpy. If you can hear this, come back in.
What?
Wait, Tom.
1 second.
All right, turn off your feet. I can hear you on that one as well. Tom, can you hear me? Are you not even in? What's going on?
I can hear you.
Wait.
I can hear you.
Right. You can hear me, but I can't see. I've put you on the stream, but I don't know where you are on the stream.
Can anyone hear me?
What the- Wait, can any of the stream hear? Can anyone on the stream hear Tom?
My camera.
No, I can't bring you into into it, mate. Wait, it's probably me. No, that's that. So you're there.
It says
Oh.
we hear you, Tom.
So that's that. Do you know what? Wait there. Wait there. It's me. Wait there. Guest. I've got to add some of these layouts, I think. Maybe that one. There we go. We got there in the end. Let me change it.
Hey.
What's going on, Tom?
How you doing, Danny? My
I'm good.
absolute friend in honesty and truth. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you, mate?
I'm not going to say I'm all right because I'm not. I said in the chat. I said I'm worried about coming on. I'm worried about what I'm going to say, and I've got to be very careful about what I say because I'm in a process of thinking and reacting, which is not. You've got to be careful when you're reacting. Knee jerk. And Wake Up UK, my friend from Wake Up UK said in your chat, he said it's not that dog you're jumping on, is it? It is when I see people with virtue faithing, virtue outraging over murders and cashing in. It is when I see people profiting from other people's suffering. It is when the country's in a serious state like this, and I want to see what I mean. I got.
Yeah, I know. 100%. And we're not going to get into dodgy areas because we're just talking the truth. The truth's the truth, right? Do you know what I mean? And that's exactly what happens. We just come out and we have conversations. But it's right, man. People are doing. That's what I said at the start of the stream. I don't know if he's watching.
I didn't catch the start.
Too many people on doom streams at the moment. It's a very profitable time for people to be doing these types of stuff. But I'm not going to be the one that's going to be taking people down that road. Because it's a stupid road. It's a road to nowhere. It's a road to nowhere that will get people somewhere very, very quickly. So
that's a good name. Yeah. That's a good name for it. Doom streams. That's actually really, I actually like that name because it is like it's like you say, it's like a circular road, isn't it?
Circular politics.
Yeah.
Random. Nothing changes.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening except that people. Let's put it this way. I believe, it's just an opinion, I believe there are people out there that don't want this conflict to stop. Because, unlike, say, for me, and I believe this was the same for you when I met you down there, if I'm right in saying this, you didn't want to be an activist. I certainly didn't want to be an activist. I wanted to be a guy that made cartoons and sci-fis, and that's why I learned video editing. I wanted to make fun things. I got dragged into activism, whereas there are people around. I don't know necessarily who it is, but there are people around that are here because they want to be, and they want this conflict to continue because it is their business. It's their business model. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, 100%. We just got to be. We've got to be there. Listen, even in this chat, I'm seeing loads of people saying about, look at this one, right? Politics won't solve our problem. Swords and shields will. Listen, you can't get people, right? You can't get people to go out into your own area, into your town hall with nothing but a fork, right? You can't get 1,000 people to do that. So how are people coming with swords and shields? It's very good to be valiant about history. It's very good to say that the people of Kent and the people of Essex and the people of Norfolk all come down on horseback and they went to London and they went to take London over. They burnt the courthouses. They closed the bridges, right? They tried to encapsulate London and they failed, right? But they were prepared to do it with what they had. We ain't there. What are we doing? That's all medieval stuff. No one's even going to go down to Parliament and say, do you know what? Yeah, let's take the lock off. No one's going to do that. So what's this swords and shields? But people have this fantasy in their heads that that's what's going to happen. But when it comes down to it, very few people will actually go and stand up. Yeah, they'll actually go in this way, right? Civil war is inevitable. Let's go and do it. It's not going to happen. There's no civil war. But all that's going to happen is people are going to say, listen, lads, yeah, let's keep that civil war rhetoric going. And let's not actually think about what will save the country. Let's not actually think about what will go and be the right thing to do.
I also think there's an epidemic of people. I mean, whether civil war is coming on, I don't know. I really don't feel, you know what I mean? My head's cooked with it all. But what I will say is there's definitely an epidemic of people who are, and I think it may be keyboard warriors, they're calling for civil war. And
he's not, though. He's not. I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying it's keyboard warriors or anything like that, because these people I've been told that this is the way.
No, but I'm saying there's people I've seen on chats, I mean, and they're calling for civil war. And what I think I've worked out is, like, A, they're completely detached from reality because they're treating this like it's all just a TV show, which means B, they ain't planning to fight it themselves. What they're really doing is asking us to fight it for them. Just a few activists. And like what you said, if you're going to talk about history and you're going to bring it in, then we need people to stand up in the millions. And they're not prepared to do that yet.
People ain't going to do that. People ain't going to do that.
They're not prepared to do that.
It's not the right. Do you know what? It's not the right thing. All right, cool. Right, let's work this out. Right, we're gonna take Parliament. Me, you, and a million other people. Right, we're gonna lose 25% of them. Right, because the police and all that shit. Right, we've got in Parliament. We sat in Parliament. Yeah. Now this isn't Nepal where we can make a new Parliament on Discord. Right, we're not that. It's not that type. What happens then? What happens when the army? They would have to protect Parliament, I would think, if the king said you have to protect. I don't know, but what would happen then?
Honestly,
how would we then go from taking Parliament to then creating a government? It doesn't sync well. It doesn't work out.
Honestly, when you look at all this, though, there's another way of looking at it. I mean, I wish Ben was here actually, because he's got a military perspective on this. But I think that, like, the police will be taken out, but not by us. I mean, if there was an actual civil war, the police would be taken out. The army wouldn't last very long either. So there's just not enough of them. It's just not enough of them, and we know that. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, Wake Up said the world is not a stage; it's a circus, and they're sent in the clowns. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my man. Miss you, buddy. Hope you're okay. But yeah, exactly, and we've been. And I fear that we, Danny, have been watching a play, thinking that we were stepping out and waking up, thinking that we were awake. And I'm worried that we've actually been in a different kind of sleep.
Well, listen, we'll probably have, I don't know. Yeah, it's highly true, really. Like I said again, I was last couple of weeks. I was deathly ill, like very, very ill. Like, you know, when that's not even me saying, oh, whatever. 10 days or whatever, I was hardly doing anything, right? But it gave me clarity. It's given me a new perspective. It's given me a new thing, and people that see my ex and see everything else, and that they can see that actually, you know, there is ways that you can look at things without it being terrible. You know, just look at things and see if it's terrible or not. And I don't know. I think we all need to have we all need to have their moments of clarity of saying, well, even challenging myself, do I actually still hold the same views as I did 4 years ago?
That's
you know,
really
it's really
important.
made me do that. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a really good point. That's a really good point. If you don't challenge those older opinions that you've got, you don't realize that you've merged, changed, taken on new information. You get stuck with a fixed point of view that's useless.
Exactly. Like when I was at 15, 16, if Black Lives Matter come out on the street, I was a kind of victim type of mentality that probably would have accepted it. Do you know what I mean? Would have probably been like, oh, do you know what? Especially when there's that uprising bit, right? So
Yeah.
I'd have probably loved it, right?
Yeah.
But then you come to now, it's abhorrent. You know, it's a ideology that can never ever be into it. So look how I would say it didn't happen back then, but my mentality probably would have accepted it because your mind changes.
But you know, it's
How
funny.
these things change, and you got to challenge yourself. I challenge myself all the time.
You have to, especially in this game, but anywhere in life, you have to constantly challenge yourself, constantly be prepared to be wrong. If you're not prepared to be wrong, you're in the wrong business. Because I was wrong just the other day, and I had to kind of get it right. As long as you correct yourself, as long as you're prepared to be wrong, it doesn't matter whether it's an opinion you've had for a day or 5 years. As long as you're prepared to stand back and say, "No, I got that wrong," then you're growing, you're moving forward. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. You know, 100%.
But a lot of people can't do that because they feel like if they let go of opinions they've had, that makes the time that they spent on them worthless, and they're not. That's missing the point.
Yeah, but you, I don't know. I think you've just got to always be challenging yourself personally, even if you are wrong. Even if you are wrong, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about your things being pointless, or I don't know. You know, people are less likely. Oh shit! People are less likely to challenge themselves in that way because they don't want to be wrong. Everyone wants to be right, but it's very humbling when you are wrong about things, and it's very humbling when you're wrong about things and you can put things right, and you can say, well, actually, do you know what? I think there's more to this than meets the eye. I didn't before, but now I can see it. So I'm going to tell you. And then if you can see it, you can see it. If you don't, then at least I've been true to myself.
Dan, can I just ask, did you just punch that microphone off there for a super chat?
No. I should have done, really.
Sorry.
So there's a protest on May the 9th. There's a protest. Who's doing this protest, Kirsten? Who's doing this? Because there's a protest on the 9th of November, right, outside City Hall in London Mayor's office, right? But there's also a protest on the 5th of November. You see what I mean? Why can't the 9th of November be on the 5th of November when people are already in London and say, right, your protest is 11 o'clock and we'll go, say, 2 o'clock, right?
You know
so we'll set ours up at 2 o'clock outside City Hall.
Yeah.
You can have numbers automatically. You can have numbers.
It seems to be a countrywide thing now. I've got to be careful in case people don't want that. Yeah, I've got to be a little bit careful how I say this, but some people I've hooked up with recently who are more local. And what I see with them is that there's not bad faith between people, but it seems like certain areas that don't get enough numbers have all realised that if they linked up, they could get the right numbers, but they all protest on the same day. Well, and they are taking forever to not protest on the same day. And it's kind of like, and nobody, if you ask them, it's not like they hate each other's groups or anything. They're willing to help each other, but it's just not happening. It's very strange. It's a very strange thing, but it's countrywide is what I'm trying to say. It's countrywide. It's not joining together and making things bigger, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, it is. I can't understand it.
Some of it's egos because people want to run their own shit, you know?
Yeah, but imagine if we can do a protest, right? In 3 different areas of London, yeah? 3 different areas of London, we can protest on the same day. That's going to bring so many numbers.
But you're thinking about
everyone comes to the first one. Everyone comes to the first one. Then, you know, it gets bigger to the second one because obviously their numbers come and you add in your people to it. And then the third one's going to be even bigger, even still.
But is that because you're thinking about the success of the overall protest and the people? Whereas, yeah, exactly. Whereas other people are thinking about how successful their particular protest is. See what I'm saying? And that's why.
I guess. Yeah.
And they shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. They shouldn't be thinking like that. But I wonder if that's the mindset. Because I'll tell you something. Every protest I see, when you know, it's like you get behind the scenes. There's people in places fighting for stage time. There's different groups that have got together to work together, but they are still pushing each other for time and for ownership. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Right.
100%. But imagine this though. Imagine this. Every protest we get conditions on. And what's the condition? You have to leave the area by a certain time.
Yes.
Right. So the police will force us to leave that area to then go to a new area until the time that we can't protest. You see what I mean? There's not even, they'll say, oh, you can't be in London because they can't do that. You've not done nothing wrong. They'll say, you say at 1:30, you've got to be gone from this protest. All right, cool, because we're all going to walk down to the other protest.
Yeah.
And then the other protest, you've got to be gone
so you basically create
you create a day of
As long as you skip areas, you've got a day of constant protest. That's brilliant, Dan.
Exactly, and you have to
That's
do that.
brilliant.
You can't be here. All right, officer. Thank
So
you.
why are people doing it? Why are people doing it?
I just thought about that then. So I have no
But
idea.
that's really, really cool.
I think so. I think that'd work. I
That's a
think
really
some
good idea.
people protest need to look into that and just link up with people. What's wrong with people? If you're protesting
Yeah.
shit, it doesn't matter because the job's done, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Is it, so one second, Tom. Whoever's looking at
Right.
Haley's X account is here. I'm going to do all the X's. Go on. I'm going to do all the X's in the chat, right? So that's Haley's one there. We're going to get Tony's one is there. What are you share the risk, Zero?
Oh god, it's a nightmare at the moment. Zero News is the name of my channel. Where it will show up on a search. Yeah, the best thing to find me under is #share the risk because it will bring up me on all channels. And share the risk on X. Yeah, sorry, if you asked about X, share the risk.
Yeah, X. And that one there is Tony the Cockney girl. And here is share the risk.
I just don't know if anyone gets to hear this. I guess you'll hear it at some point, people, because I will make this all made aware, make this all be known. But I just have no words. I just can't believe, like, they're just like, so unbelievable. These people, like, they're just stroking each other's. It's worse than an echo chamber. It's actually enabling patheticness. It's just, I just don't know what to say. I just got so little words to actually, other than just to let it play for now and just to record it, document it, and address it at a later stage when we get the opportunity, when things have been dealt with a bit more. You know, so I'll just play this one to the end, and then I'll see how much of the Den and Brick, Brick and Brick, Denrick and Rick Easy, how much is worth playing, and then yeah, I'll get to the shop on my bicycle and be back. I've got my lights now, so I can go when it's nice. It's dreary. I will put my lights on all the time now because it's dreary light. But yeah, let's crack on with this.
Risks, Mr. Tom. It's good you being back on Zero News. If anyone doesn't know Tom, right? So I know there's a lot of people here who are new, and you only know my rantings. This is Tom. When I first was an activist all these years ago, he used to go by the name of Zero News, and everyone knows him at Zero News. And it was the podcast was there. He'd come live a lot. He'd go to every protest. COVID hit. It's very good. Then he moved away from that, and he's done other things. Still sticking with what he's doing, and now he's come back to Zero News. So you probably heard of Tom Zero, and this is the gentleman anyway. Share the risk. So yeah, no, he's been here for a very long time, and it's good that you've come back onto this one personally. I think anyway, because everyone knows you. It's
Pleasure, Dan.
it's what do we call it? It's I've forgotten the word. It's conservative, so it's I don't know, I can't remember. But you know, you're part of the especially my activism and coming up. Do you know what I mean? If you've been so valuable to me, so you're part of the whole furniture of.
Oh, that's really nice of you to say. I appreciate that. It's funny. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No, say, go on.
People still call me Zero. They still call me Zero. Still go for share the risk and stuff like that. It's stuck. Like you said it to me, didn't you? It's stuck, and it has.
Yeah.
So I'm coming back home, but also going back to Zero News is also a statement of intent. Zero News was always about pure honesty, pure effing honesty, and no holding back, and no worrying about what he or she or anybody else thinks, because it's about serving the people and the truth. That's why I come back to that.
And Min said good day to both of us.
Bless you.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was a
No,
great
not at all.
No, it's great that you're back on that, and you're going to be hitting the truth. That's what we're about, people, right? No matter what you see, look at that, Zero News Army. See?
Yeah,
there you go. Remember that, innit?
Yeah,
remember that.
Zero News Army.
Yeah,
we're back.
See? You're back, and that's what it's about. You know, we're here to spread the truth, and to try and win this country back. You know, and it needs every single little cog in the big wheel to be turning the right way. Because if one turns the wrong way, then it stops, and it's as simple as that. You know, it really is as simple as that.
And we've got to. I mean, things are getting really difficult now, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. We have to let the next few days sort of decide that. But in terms of how we've been recently in that, we just need to stick together and not allow the distractors, the grifters, and everything else to pull or create narratives in place of the truth. That's what it is. That's what it is. I don't know if it's the same as you. Like, I've been like not even wanting to stream, like thinking, do you know what I want? That's why at the start I was like, right, let's not doom stream this. Let's just have a bit of a serious conversation. Yeah. Because like, I don't know, it's so easy. I could do it. I could have sat down here and it's cool for what everyone else is doing and getting everyone hyped up and the adrenaline's going in that. But we've got responsibilities as well. And that responsibility is no one should be going to prison for a tweet or for something that you've instigated in whatever way. I know I instigate a lot as well. I know I can understand that, right? But the new me is a bit more calm. I think it's the only way we can do it. And my worry is simply that I can't control what people decide to do. That's up to them. But right now, I see them as being lambs to the slaughter. And if the strongest men in the country stood up right now, they wouldn't get what they wanted. What they would get is the strongest men of the country would be neutralised. So then when we need them, they won't be there.
Very quickly. 100%, very quickly. I want to know about this curtain protest though, Tom.
Wake
Up UK said, I'll always remember Tom's curtain protest.
Oh,
Come on, spit it out.
He's so OCD, but he's right. So all it was I used to sit in there and do a live stream in a different position, and behind me had a curtain and had a missing ring out of it. Right, it looked really annoying, and it pissed him off so much. He'd go on about me about fixing the curtain, and because he brought it up, and somebody else brought it up, and somebody else brought it up, I went on a strike about it. I said, right, I'm not fixing the fuck. It's the curtain. Sorry, the curtain stays broken. And I went on a protest about it every live stream. Activism in my own house, yeah.
Oh.
Can I ask you something? Are you exhausted at the moment? Because I mean, admittedly, I've been going for days. I feel like I can't switch off at the moment. I feel like it's almost dangerous to switch off at the moment. But I am absolutely cooked.
Wait, mate, I am. Since I'm not going to go through the. I'm not going to have the things. It needs to be a stream all on its own, right? But like, I'm exhausted because I'm looking like. I see things, yeah. So when I see things that are not right, I just go down these mad holes and I just don't come out again until I found what either truth, right, or plausible, right? And that's what it is. And that's what I'm doing. And it is exhausting to be in this way. That's what I said. I don't even like. I said I'm going to do a stream yesterday at 10:30. I didn't do it yesterday at 10:30. I was asleep at 9:30. Do you know what I mean? Just not that. It's not like I do a lot. I walk about, see a few people, and I don't really do a lot. Like, and yeah, I was asleep at 9:30. Today was nearly going to be the same. I was like, no, I've got to do it. But there's nothing that's really exciting me enough to say, let's go on, because it's all everyone looking is doomed. So I've got to try and find. I'm trying to say, right, let's try and not be doomy, right? Let's be a bit not even happy, but let's be on an equal level. But it's hard. And sometimes I don't want to stream. That's how I feel at the moment. Like, I don't really want to do it. But I'm going to push myself to it because.
Sorry, Dan. Carry on.
No, that was it.
I was going to say, it's like when you said about people coming on your stream, that's why I put that note. I don't know if I should, because it's like partly cooked, partly it's like, what am I going to say that's constructive? I don't want to just rant, and so it's like, what am I going to say that's constructive? And so I know what you mean, because I when you said first saying, I thought, no, I can't do it, because I want to be saying something hopeful, and at the moment there's too much going on, and again, I'm too cooked to be giving out really good, clever messages or whatever else, because I don't have any at the moment, because at the moment everything's a bit bonkers, and I don't want to say too much more than that, because again, I could easily go on several different rants. So
100%, and it's just I know exactly. Min said that she'll donate a new curtain view.
She was there.
You got a new curtain view. You got a new curtain view, and I got Field of Van saying you see patterns, Danny. Check if you're neurodiverse. I think it's trying to sound autistic or something. I probably am, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? I've got some mad things. I'll make sure to have an hour to a banging tunes. Yeah, that's important as well. I think that's really important.
Danny's the most sensible person in the world, and then he'll say, "Yeah, I just saw an alien walk down the road." I thought we were just having a sensible conversation, Dan. And then somehow he'll qualify it and make you believe it. It's unbelievable.
That's what I was going to say. You believe it, though. Do you know what I mean? It'll be so matter of fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I say something that's a lie. Like, they'll ask me a question and I'll just come out with like whatever I think the answer should be. And they'll be like, all right, cool, walk away. And then they'll be like, all right, let me see if that goes around. And he comes back and says, remember to that? And I was like, come on. Like, you're so convincing with it.
It's funny, all you got to do is keep a straight face. And there are a few people out there who will believe anything you say. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to people. It's just funny the way some people take things, When you're obviously doing that deadpan,
Yeah, no, definitely. Victoria West says men can't protect their women from behind bars. That's 100% right there.
Yeah, fair play. That's a good. Yeah, and like I say, so if you get the strongest men in the country, and you get them out, but they're not supported by everybody else, then you literally have your best assets put away. So, like, what I'm trying to say is nobody's thinking forward at the moment. Even if, let's say, the war was the best course of action. Even so, the way it's been dealt with right now is it's not being thought about. It's being reacted to. It's all knee jerk. It's all knee jerk stuff. So let's even imagine it. I'm not saying it is the right course of action. I've been fighting against it. All I'm saying is, even if it was, the way it's been dealt with at the moment is all wrong anyway. People, you can't work off knee jerk reactions, otherwise you'll get knee jerk results, and they're never good.
100%. Can't say anything else to that, because that is it. It has to be well thought out, and yeah, it has to be well thought out. Otherwise, you're never going to win. And that's what I was trying to say about the political side of it. Go into the councils. If you make a stand, bring 1,000 people to the council offices, council meetings. You have to let you in there because it's a public building. They have to let you to the meetings. And if all of a sudden all these councils are saying, well, we can't facilitate what you're bringing us, we need to speak to the government, and then that's them internally speaking, and that's the pressure. You're putting pressure on your council to put pressure on the government to say, listen, we've got to do something, or maybe to topple the prime minister. At this point in time, they have the power. So they can put away a lot of people very, very quickly if everyone went and just did something stupid.
Yeah, I agree with you absolutely, and that's the big. Like I say, and those people will probably be a lot of the strongest people.
Of course.
Danny, I'm going to love you and leave you because I am still quite scared of what I could say. I'm still there in that place. But because it's been quite, we've actually laughed at stuff, and I want to leave it on that good note with you. Do you know what I mean? To step out while we're laughing. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for coming on, Tom. Everyone go to Share the Risk on X. I know a lot of people are watching it on X now. Go to Share the Risk and give him a follow. Tell him Danny sent you. Tom, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your stream. Have a good night.
And you did, mate. So that's Tom Zero. Very, 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 a good man, old school. He's been there from a long time in the movement and just doing loads of stuff. So it's always good. Right, we're going to end this soon, but we've got a couple of things to go through. Field of Van says, what do you think about
Clue. I wasn't having a clue. I ain't got a clue how it fucking got on there, to be fair.
I
think my mind's playing minds on me. How the fuck did that go? I thought, what's that about?
I'm looking at the comment, I'm looking at the video, I'm thinking, nothing matches up here.
Oh, right, Wendy put out a video about Daddy told me upset a few people at the demo on.
Oh, right, yeah, I've seen it.
And I put under it, I think the guy who was having a word with him was the organiser of the demo.
Right, yeah.
That's what it was. I didn't realise that happened. I didn't realise there was a bit of unhappiness with him. I didn't realise that. I didn't see that. That was the first I saw when Wendy put it up,
At least he's not calling him a paedophile this week. It's fair enough.
Huh?
At least he's not calling him a paedophile this week. It's something to follow.
Yeah, but we all say things over the top sometimes. Look at me.
Yeah, I can't see Wendy's comments. I think she's blocked me or whatever. So I can only see your comment there thinking, what the fuck is this? So What's that about having two lefties? And
Well,
whatever?
I was going to do what I've got to do because I'm really getting fed up with these fucking lefties. I'm just really pissed off with them. Yeah. See that JAJ was trying to goad me again in the chat, but I just gave him what for. So where he keeps calling me a monk and a spastic, where I prove him wrong. I said, well, okay, then I'll show you a monk and a spastic. I'll set up a charity fight with it. Yeah. You know. Yeah. And he's pissed off. Yeah. Little run.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Because I'm really
Not worth your time, user. Honestly, not worth your time. They've made their mind up. They're fucking deluded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I like winding them up. It pisses me off. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Because I just think they're fucking idiots. But I do blame.
They're honestly not worth your time. They've made their mind up. They're fucking deluded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I like winding them up. It pisses me off. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy it. He's pissed off. Yeah. Little run. I'm really hating them now. Then I'm really.
They're not worth your time, user. They're honestly not worth your time. They've made their mind up. They're fucking deluded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I like winding them up. They piss me off. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Because I just think they're fucking idiots.
I just went back on that bit because I thought he might have said, it gets me off. I like winding them up. It gets me off. He said, they piss me off, I think, or it pissed me off. I thought he said, it gets me off for a second. That would have been pretty tragic.
Idiots. But I do blame them for the academic. I reckon by their actions with the Labour government, well, all governments, they've actually made rape is a normal thing now. This is what we're getting now. Yeah. You know, I mean, I haven't seen women got raped, you know. Yeah. So we don't want that in our community. We don't.
No, obviously not. No. Tough, though, innit? Do you know what I mean? Whole situations, but I just won't waste my time with lefties. I just won't bother.
No,
There's something wrong with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I like talking to them because it upsets them because they have to get so when they get so angry with you, they've got to take the mick out of you. Yeah. But I think my breaking down on some of my shows and putting out the truth on certain things I've done well and it's triggered them all. It's triggered all. Yeah. But you know, I just had a night off of it because I was just watching the football. Yeah. So
to me, with the lefties, all the arguments are already won. They haven't got an argument. Do you know what I mean? They just look fucking mental now.
They need to. Do you know what we've got to do? Right. Sort out these unvetted immigrants. Right. Get rid of them. Then find all these lefties, honestly, and put them in prison. I'm telling you. No, the far left. Yeah. They need to be put in prison or something. Because, as far as I'm concerned, all what this is going on, right? They've shut us down, called us racist and that. Me, I'm they're facilitating the rape of our girls. That's how I see it.
They've done that for years,
It's extreme for me, but that's how I feel. That's how angry I am.
Well, they've done for years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Standing there with the fucking refugee welcome signs and all this bullshit. It is what it is. They've invited the problem.
Yeah.
So, they are. It is what it is, isn't it? Any fucking shit that goes on, the blood's on their hands, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They're the ones that have welcomed them in. The blood's on their hands. It is what it is.
Yeah. I just think, and I'm getting so angry. So Uxbridge, another lovely area where I was growing up. Uxbridge, West London. It was on the end of the other side of West London, off the line. You know, it's the last train station, and the Central Line. And you've got an Afghan who lived in the street apparently, and it's just got asylum. And he attacked someone with a dog first. So I reckon he attacked that bloke because he had a dog with him. Right?
Was it HMO or something? Or?
What's that? What do you mean, HMO?
Was it a house with multiple occupations?
No, I don't know. All I know, they said he lived down that street and they gave him asylum. Yeah. Why mess it up and do that unless he's? But don't attack a 14-year-old.
This is what these people are about, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all of it's what.
You know, we didn't hardly have any of this till we had these unvetted people coming in, did we? Really? I mean, we had the terror attack, but you wouldn't have every day. Not all right. We've had the Lee Rigby, but it wasn't like every day what is happening now. Do you get what I mean?
It's a bit of a mad one. It's like the people that were born here, because all the terrorism realistically has been from British-born Muslims. Do you know what I mean? They're actually born here or raised from a child or whatever. The ones that are coming here, it's like they've not got the patience to plot terrorism or groom children. They're just randomly attacking people. It's that simple. They fucking hate us. They absolutely hate us. They hate us as a country.
Saudi-run mosques have actually radicalised them, because it seemed to happen when the Saudis were allowed to build the mosques. Yeah, when it was done locally, it wasn't happening so much. Do you know what I mean? Because that mosque you went up to at that time, you had every cause to do that because I mean, there was a black man. Did you see that video? He lived there. There was a black man had to go at the imams. He goes,
There was loads of people kicking off. The whole community was going mad. The whole community still now, all this time after, once that mosque. So it's one of them. Manchester's not going back to sleep. Do you know what I mean? We've seen what fucking comes of it. We've seen what they're about, and we've seen the police do a 12-month investigation and turn up nothing, despite Tommy producing the evidence and projecting it onto the walls of the mosque. You know what I mean? And they're saying, "Oh, there's no evidence." Dickhead, we've all seen.
I think places like Manchester and all that now is fucking gone for the simple reasons they've let the radicals in the councils. Yeah. Fucking nick for it, don't you? So I've just spreaded it privately. You know.
The best bet now is just tread careful around certain things. Whatever's going to come is going to come anyway. People are not going back to sleep. There's more people waking up daily.
I just get fed up with it now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I just think it's like a fashion show, actually. Am I putting on the radical and speaking out? Yeah, because when we are the men in England, well, I'm one of them to speak out on it. Yeah, I can't do it physically. I wish I fucking could, but I will do it physically on here. Yeah, and it's time to stop having rucks with everything and just concentrate on it. Like you said, what is the end game? I don't know what the end game is now, because when I was talking to you the other night, I don't know. I can see where you're coming from. I don't know where the end game is, to be fair. Yeah. I really don't. Yeah, because it seems like every time we try to do something, we get blocked. Yeah. You know, the only one who's got close to getting that government exposed is Tommy. But look what they're doing to him then. Yeah. Yeah. How are you, mate? Long time no see. Mister, if you've got time, just hit the link because I'm going to be going. But I can't see any end to it now. Yeah, it doesn't matter who we have in, right? Say if we got Advance UK in, and they want to put that through, right? We put that through. They want to put that through. You've got to go through all the bodies before they put anything through. Do you know what I mean? So, don't matter who we have in, they're going to block anything we do. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look how much trouble Trump did to get his thing through. Yeah. It was so long, but in this country, so it's going to end up in what I don't want. A bit of a war, and it will.
I think, to be honest, no matter which way it goes, it's going to go that way anyway. Do you know what I mean? Even if, let's just say, I don't know, whoever the flavour of the month is with the political side of things or whatever, even if you get them in and they go, right, okay, first step we're going to do is get rid of all the illegal entry. You know, anyone that came here illegally or whatever.
It's not that easy because they've got to go through all these other governing boards, haven't they, to do it? They can't just go and fucking do it, and that's the problem. Yeah. They've got one obstacle. They've got the right intentions and that, but they're going to fucking let them do it.
I actually don't think it would be possible to kind of do it at this stage or whatever without bringing in the army and this, that, and the other. I really don't.
Maybe.
You think how many people, you've just seen all them wankers with the face masks and bats and all that and whatever. That's showing a finger of force, and realistically nothing come of it. You get
what they should do is like a cadet army thing, right? Like they do in Italy, where when they're younger, they've got to go into the army, haven't they? They get up early. Maybe
same in Poland, isn't it?
Get all different people who are getting in gangstership, yeah? Get them all here, train them up. Where I've listed, they're given some purpose, yeah? Not to go to war against another country, just to go on the streets. Do you know what I mean? Armed up, and when we have that mob, we get them in, and that's it. We need another sort of a cadet thing where we train them up like they do in Italy. Yeah, like they've got to go in the army at a certain age. I think to train early to learn the discipline. And I reckon a lot of these people who are committing crime and lost on here will fucking enjoy it. To be fair, going on the streets and fucking sorting out what needs to be done on the streets, because we can't go on like this. Yeah, I mean, look what's happening in Wolverhampton. Look what's happening in Warsaw. We're getting things like this now because the fucking government have normalised. Great, they've normalised it.
Yeah.
They have, the far left have, and the Labour government, well, all governments have actually.
It's nothing new every time you see anything happening. You know, even that yesterday where 3 people have been stopped up and whatever, people are just like, oh, another one. It's just become normalised, all of it. All
it's normalised, even GB News didn't rush down there the other day.
It's not really new news at this point. It's just like, oh, another one. It's normalised behaviour now.
And they are ruining, these radicals are ruining our country because they're running out people who actually contribute to the fucking country ahead of a lot of their businesses, and they're all moving out. Yeah.
Can't blame them, can you?
Even Europeans are fucking left, haven't they? Well, there's a few stayed. Fuck this, I'm going back.
Can't blame anyone for leaving this fucking country. It's a government team against anyone thinking clearly. It's just fucking mental.
Yeah. So this
simple. The government is the problem. Until we can deal with the government, we're literally wasting our time running about doing this, doing that, protest, stand outside hotels. It's good because you're waking the communities up. Yeah, okay, that's one thing or whatever, but there is no solution. And if we have a solution, the government will jump all over. So, I mean, it's fucked.
What we really got to do is stop their fucking fraud fucking voting. Yeah. So, like I say, with the Mayor of London, stop the posting voting. Do you know what I mean? We've got to do that. Yeah. If you want old people to vote, we've got to have to find a different way because this is where corruption's coming. You know, the postal vote.
I think unless we can literally get rid of this government and replace it with something that works, I think we're just going to be fighting an uphill battle, personally.
Well, for Rod ain't a fucking answer.
No, he's a fuck. Don't piss on him if he was on fire.
Do you know what? People are going to not hate me when I say I didn't like it when Thatcher was in, but now looking back at it, you need somebody strong and won't fucking back down. And Thatcher was one not to fucking do that. Do you know what I mean? She wasn't. I know she was bad in a lot of things. I hated it under it's fucking. You know, she tried to put everybody on the leash, but I'll tell you what, she wasn't a part of this year. She just wouldn't. And it took a woman to stay strong for this country. So maybe we need a strong woman. I mean, I was thinking someone like Priti Patel. You know.
I just think the system itself is fucked. Do you know what I mean? It don't really matter who you put in place because they're not going to be able to do what they want to do. Everything's set against them.
Years ago, didn't he?
In my opinion, we've been sold out a long time ago. We've shown over 10 years ago how the country's been asset stripped from the government. We've shown all this over 10 years ago. Why people are not getting it, I don't know. It's madness.
How can we out in our capital city, right? That city, it's a beautiful city. If you look at the buildings and everything, yeah. If people actually take a look, when I go there, I still get that buzz of that feeling where I used to live there, yeah. You know what I mean? I don't get thinking about what they've done, right? Like places like East London, yeah, like Whitechapel, yeah. But they've done it. They've done that, yeah. Back in the day, that wouldn't have been fucking loud, yeah. Because these far lefties and these fucking governments, they've just allowed it. I mean, how fucking dare them do this, yeah? Because you've got young children walking around on a Saturday afternoon. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's fucking a joke. It's the same in Manchester, and it's the same. It's
everywhere. I mean, I travel all over the country all the time. I see the differences and whatever, and it's just shit creeping in everywhere. Even the quieter areas and everything is still just fucked.
So I was looking at, do you know what I was looking at, right? Where the areas are being tarnished with the great gangs, right? So you're looking about like Yorkshire. So Batley is the capital of Europe of grooming gangs. You know that. So that's in Yorkshire, right? Now, what happened to it? As far as I can remember, back in the day, the Yorkshiremen were hard men. Their police force were fucking hard. What fucking happened? What fucking happened? I just can't believe these mining towns have been taken over and being ruled over with these gangs. You know that?
Ricky Dearman wasn't from there, was he? Yorkshire, Sheffield, Thorpe, mining village. Ricky Dearman didn't didn't he pose in the newspaper as he's this miner this celebrating that he's got an acting career or he's moving down to London. This miner, he's a miner, not minor. And what about Jimmy Savile? Was he from up that way, lad? Do you fucking pay attention to anything, you stupid cunts?
Many beautiful places in England have been ruined by these great gangs. Yeah. And it's literally everywhere. You know, you've got places up in Lancashire, you've got nice places, you know.
And we're just going to call them grape. Yeah. Let's just call a rape gang a grape gang. Yeah. Let's just change all these words to try and appease, but just don't mention the COVID vaccines and don't mention the Hampstead cover up. No. Let's just call it Hoaxstead. I don't want anything to do with Hoaxstead. Fucking dead hut. Stupid fucking. Oh, and remember Denrick, Patrick Connor, Richard Connor, whatever his fucking name is. He's the only one that could expose any validity of the case at all, because he's got the evidence on Lyndon, which says that Lyndon is the only reason that the case might even be real. Is because Rick has got the evidence on Lyndon. Remember that's the only reason that even suggests it might even be a potential real case. And Hoaxstead. I mean, who come up with the name Hoaxstead? Is that just what the mum called it? Did she call it when she came out about the case, or did the newspaper call it that? So why would the newspaper call it Hoaxstead? And why would all these paedophiles be running around the YouTube community here, silencing people and abusing and slandering and lying about all the shit and causing you so much shit easy, but because you don't want to talk about Hoaxstead. All right, I can't listen to any more of these cunts. I've heard everything I need to know for now, but it's all on record. Got it all recorded, so yeah. See you later. Thank you all.